Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. We are launching a deep dive today into, well, a quiet revolution that's reshaping how careers actually grow. We're moving past that old fixed path, the career ladder, and exploring something much more dynamic, the career lattice.
And this shift isn't just, a theoretical concept. It's really essential for modern organizational survival.
Right.
If you're a professional or a business leader right now, you're juggling volatile labor demands, really aggressive retention goals, and a workforce that's just hungry for knowledge.
And the old way, the straight up climb, it's just not working.
It's failing everyone involved.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Why is the ladder broken now? What makes this shift so urgent?
Well, because the whole idea of long-term specialization, in one single vertical silo, it just doesn't align with how people work anymore or with the pace of business.
The data really backs that up, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I mean, the data shows this massive shift in the U.S. labor market. On average, Americans hold about 12 jobs by the time they hit 55.
12 jobs, that's a lot of churn.
Constant, and it's expensive churn.
And that instability isn't going away?
Not at all. Nearly half of all employees in a recent survey said they might change jobs this year.
Wow.
So that puts immense pressure on companies. If your internal path forward is too narrow, or worse, totally invisible, people will just leave. They'll go to the competition.
So what you're saying is internal mobility isn't a perk. It's the baseline now for retention?
Exactly. When you see that a third of people who quit, 33%, cite a lack of advancement as the main reason, you get it. Internal mobility is a core retention tool.
And people want to learn.
They absolutely do. A huge majority, 91%, value ongoing learning. So the need to make growth visible and flexible inside your own walls becomes, well, unavoidable.
So our mission for this deep dive is to really define this career lattice idea. The idea that progression isn't just up, but multidirectional, sideways, diagonal. We want to show how this model boosts retention and upskilling, and look at why some really forward-thinking companies like W.L. Gore, Buffer, and Deloitte have already put it into practice.
Let's start with the basic architecture. The career lattice is let's call it a 360-degree model for progression.
So not a set of stairs.
No, forget the stairs. Think of it more like a city map. You've got multiple routes to get where you're going. It treats progression as a set of options across different functions, teams, you name it.
Which is a huge difference in the traditional model, which is all about title changes in one department.
Right. The ladder rewards that one, deep expertise. The lattice, on the other hand, it emphasizes skills, outcomes, flexibility. It lets people build a resilient career without ever having to leave.
And the beauty of it is that it allows for different kinds of moves, not just the climb. So we still have vertical moves, right? The classic promotion.
Yes, those still exist. They add seniority and scope. But the real game changer comes from the other two directions.
The lateral move and the diagonal move.
Those are the crucial additions.
Okay, so let's really nail down the difference here because they have very different goals. The lateral move is the sideways shift.
A lateral move deepens your breadth, your range, without changing your seniority. So, for example, an HR specialist might move over to the communications team.
Same level, different function.
Exactly. They get exposed to new stakeholders, new processes, but they're still a specialist. It's about immersion in a new area.
I see. And the diagonal move. That sounds like the one that really breaks down silos.
That's the one. A diagonal move mixes skill building with new responsibilities, and it often crosses functional and hierarchical lines at the same time.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. Think of a finance analyst. A diagonal move might take them from the core finance team and put them into, say, the supply chain strategy team. They're applying their analytical skills to a totally new set of problems.
Learning about logistics while still using their finance background.
You got it. And that's how you build future leaders.
It sounds like diagonal moves are almost purpose-built to create that institutional knowledge you need at senior levels.
They are. As Jessica Lim put it, diagonal growth builds a well-rounded understanding of the company. You're creating internal polymaths who get the whole picture.
So it's this classic trade-off. Deep expertise versus broad adaptability. The latter rewards the specialist, but the lattice rewards breadth.
That is the core trade-off. The lattice prioritizes reskilling, upskilling, making an employee's skill set portable and resilient. It lets people choose a path that fits their goals or even their current life stage.
And structurally, this seems to fit so much better with agile organizations.
Oh, absolutely. Rigid, hierarchical firms can make the latter work. But the Lattice is perfect for flatter, high-growth companies. It supports things like short-term gigs, job swaps, dual career tracks.
Let's talk about those dual tracks for a second, for makers and managers.
That's a huge one. It ensures your top technical talent isn't forced into management just because that's the only way to get a raise.
That flexibility sounds great. But let's talk hard ROI. We have a business audience here. Why should a company invest all the time and effort it takes to build this? What's the actual financial return?
It all comes down to two things: retention and recruiting costs. We know that 76% of people say they'll leave if their career stalls. Internal moves are the direct solution to that threat.
Right. And if you fill a role from inside, you slash your external recruiting spend. That can be up to, what, 40% of a salary? And you fill the job way faster.
Way faster. Plus, the internal hire is productive sooner. They know the systems, the culture, the people. Upskilling someone you already have is exponentially cheaper than starting from scratch with an external hire.
So the business wins are clear. What about the cultural impact? Does this help with the silo problem we see everywhere?
100%. When you move people across departments, you're transferring skills and fresh perspectives. That speeds up innovation. The whole organization just becomes more agile because your teams aren't static anymore.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate. If I'm a manager with a high-performing team, I'm probably terrified of my best people leaving for a diagonal move every 6 months. Doesn't that just create chaos?
That is the exact friction point, and it leads us right to the single biggest roadblock: talent hoarding.
Managers protecting their turf.
They prioritize short-term delivery, so they guard their high performers. They'll actively block internal transfers. And the irony is, it causes higher turnover overall because that blocked employee just quits the company entirely.
So the manager's incentives are directly opposed to the employee's growth and the company's long-term health. How on earth do you fix that?
You have to realign the incentives. You have to make it beneficial for managers to move talent, not to hoard it.
So you reward them for it.
You set internal hiring and development targets, and then you reward managers with bonuses on performance reviews for developing people and placing them elsewhere in the company.
So the goal shifts from keep my team intact to be a net exporter of talent. That takes real executive buy-in.
It does. There was a leader, Jose Chang, who said, "We kept top people by enabling moves instead of hoarding talent." Once managers are rewarded for developing their bench, the culture shifts fast.
Okay, so that's roadblock number one. What's the second big one?
Poor visibility. The Lattice only works if people can see the map. Most companies just list full-time open jobs on their internal site.
Which hides all the other opportunities.
It hides everything that makes the Lattice dynamic. The short gigs, the micro projects, mentorships, they're all invisible. So the employee assumes there are no paths for them.
And they start looking outside.
Precisely. The fix is to expand that visibility. And this is where a specific tool, the talent marketplace, becomes basically indispensable.
So explain that. What is a talent marketplace and how's it different from just an internal job board?
Think of it like an internal LinkedIn, but for skills and projects. A job board just lists open roles. A talent marketplace uses AI to match an employee's skills and their growth goals with all available internal work.
Not just full-time jobs.
Right. It could be a 3-month project, a fractional role, even a 2-hour consulting gig for another team. It makes opportunity discovery proactive and data-driven.
It makes the whole Lattice concept scalable and, well, real. So for an organization that's ready to do this, what are the first practical steps?
It has to start at the top. Secure executive buy-in. You have to show them the ROI. Track how faster internal fills and lower recruiting costs hit the bottom line.
Prove the concept.
Exactly. Then, step 2, you have to map skills to work. You need a shared skills taxonomy.
A common language for skill.
A standardized, company-wide way to describe what people know and what jobs require. Without that, you can't use tech to match people to opportunities effectively.
Okay, so you have buy-in, you have the language. Step 3 is the tech itself. Create visibility.
This is where you launch that talent marketplace. Tools like Gloat or Skyhive are critical here. They take this abstract idea of a Lattice and turn it into a personalized, dynamic interface for every employee.
And the final step.
You have to enable employees and support managers. The moves can't feel risky, so you offer structured mentorship, clear job swap policies, and data-driven coaching that shows people what their next move could be.
Let's make this more tangible with the case studies. Buffer is a great example because they tackled that problem of technical people not wanting to become managers.
Right. Buffer saw they were losing great individual contributors, they call them makers, by forcing them into management. So they created dual career tracks.
A maker track and a manager track.
Yep. An amazing engineer can keep advancing in pay, scope, and seniority on the maker track, reaching the same level as a director, but without ever managing a team.
Which is so critical for keeping your best specialists doing what they do best. What about Spotify? They seem to have just made internal movement part of the culture.
They really have. They use short gigs, job swaps, coaching. They even have a career week.
What's that?
It's a structured, low-stakes event where employees can officially take time to test drive new roles and explore other departments. It makes trying something new normal and safe.
And then there's Deloitte, which is a massive, complex organization. How do they do it?
They use what they call mass customization. They lean heavily on skills data, that taxonomy we talked about, to create highly personalized career paths. Their system uses analytics to suggest feasible lateral and diagonal moves at a massive scale.
So this all boils down to flexible development. If you're going to do this, you need to track the right metrics to know if it's working.
Absolutely. The end goal is development that powers both the individual and the business. You have to track 4 things: retention of your top talent, the internal move rate, measurable skills growth, and your time to fill for key roles.
And if you can tie those metrics back to lower hiring costs and better retention, that's how you make the business case.
That's the whole game. When you support this kind of movement, employees stay, they keep learning, and they strengthen the entire business.
That is the core takeaway. It's the smart, strategic way to navigate this high-churn market. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive on the career lattice. We covered a lot of ground today, from the market urgency to implementation strategies at places like Buffer and Deloitte.
And remember those key action steps. Get executive sponsorship, map your skills, make opportunities visible with a talent marketplace, and then track your mobility and retention data.
For all the details we discussed today, including the full source article, just check the show notes and subscribe to the SmartKeys podcast for more insights on the future of work.
We hope this gives you a framework to really redefine what progress looks like in your own career or inside your organization. Until next time.